What's up, everybody? How's it going? And welcome to this episode of Car Rant. I know we haven't picked up the camera in a while, and I'm very sorry. But wait till the end of this episode. I think you'll appreciate why we were delayed. But more importantly than anything else, we're very happy to be back. And what better way to be back than doing a little bit of a DIY repair job with some wheel bearings and some brakes. What's up, everybody? How's it going? My name is Nick Lenz. This is Car Rant, and if you're new around here, we do builds, reviews, and candid conversations about car stuff. But without further ado, let's talk about this Mighty Max. This is a 1988 Mitsubishi Mighty Max. It's got a G6 3B, and it needs a lot of work. I've had this truck now since right before Christmas, and have put many miles on it. It's a great truck. I love this thing. Never skipping arm or back day because there's no power steering, but it's a solid truck and it gets me around, but it needs some serious help. So today we're starting off by doing some brakes and an unexpected wheel bearing job. All right, we're here in the shop. We've got the truck here. There's a lot that's going on with this, but long story short, we are going to focus solely on just doing the brakes today. We got new calipers, we got new rotors, we got new pads. We're going to slap them all on there. I'm going to use the pre-existing line. I wanted to get upgraded lines, but it really didn't make sense. And the time frame I had, it just wasn't going to work out. Now that it's been in here for a couple of minutes cooling down, we're going to actually push it in a little bit further so we have a little more space on the opposite side. So we can go ahead, jack this thing up, get the wheels off, and see just how bad these are, because that wobble was no joke. I wish I could express it, but oh, it was bad. I think it may have killed my bushings too. By the way, if you don't follow us on TikTok, do consider to give us a follow there. We do a lot of live streams where we'll do some jobs like this guy. This is our water pump for this truck. So if you want to hang out, have a good time with us in real time, check us out there. Because right now, that's where we're doing a lot of our live streams. But without further ado, let's get into some of these parts. So as you can see, we've got the wheel off now. This is why I was really confused by the setup at first. So on this truck, instead of the rotor slapping on right here, it slaps on the back. So basically the wheel hub holds the rotor in place, and the rotor is bolted to the hub from the backside instead of compressed using the wheel. And when we get to the caliper, that's gonna be business as usual. But I just thought I'd show that this is a very interesting component to the brake setup that if you're not familiar with this, you might find really strange and not really sure what's going on. Oh, well, after several hours of trying to work on this thing, we've hit a major roadblock. See, normally you're worried about things like damaging brake lines when you're doing this job, but instead, well, I opted not to change the calipers out just because it looks like the caliper, at least on the one side, is good. I got to this side. This is the passenger side. This is the problem side. And oh man. To start with, simply the caliper was, in fact, a tiny bit seized. It's not seized right now because I was able to break loose and it's repressurized, all that. But the rotor is definitely warped, and it definitely overheated more than a few times on that rotor and pad. Quite literally, the pads fell out as soon as I broke it loose, which meant that it was way too tight in there, and it finally had some way to release that tension, and it chose to eject itself. Bear in mind that I've had nothing but issues with the driving mechanics of this truck. For one thing, it's on motorcycle tires, so expect a tire video soon. But also, it's well, it's just straight up dangerous, period. With the brakes being whacked out, it also meant something else was getting whacked out. And my wheel bearing on this side is gone. As you can see, it's capable of just gyrating in place. The bearings themselves, you can see in the grease, there's some damage, and it's not going to be a usable part. When you pack bearings, be very careful. Put in the right amount of grease and torque to the right spec. If you over torque it, you will in fact ruin the bearing. If you don't torque it enough, you'll get what happened to this. Made it very dangerous to drive. In fact, it wanted to just dive over to the right side more than a few occasions, nearly causing wrecks. So, as much as I love Galahad, oh man, I wasn't prepared to do a bearing job, but hey, that's the life you live, and we're gonna get it taken care of. But yeah, let's fast forward through all of this and see what the end result looks like. So it's been a couple days since we picked up the camera, and oh boy, do we have a story to tell you. So the day that we're filming this episode, right before I even start filming, this happens. As you can see, I hear something in the loft space above us. Now, there's not supposed to be anyone in that loft space. And my initial instinct is to go straight to the other side of my truck to put something between me and the door, because if somebody comes out of it, I want to be in a position where I can duck and cover. Side note, I have a knife, a big old Bowie knife, on the shelf behind me. So I have something to defend myself with. I don't know what's happening. 2 seconds later, how's it going? This random dude walks out of our place. Now, it's not a secret that my landlord manages multiple properties and uses that storage space to, well, maintain storage of some of his other stuff. He offers these apartments that I live in with pre-set up furniture, so it makes it very nice and easy for us to just sit there and put this furniture we may not need in this space. And as a result, we're kind of used to people randomly calling us saying, hey, we're friends of Andy's, we need to store something there. But there is no communication on this at all. I thought it was odd, and I'd messaged my landlord about it. 2 days later, we have another interaction, and my stuff has been moved. One of my computer monitors is damaged from a backpack scraping straight across it. Yeah, it turns out that was a homeless guy that was squatting in our shop. Ian and I, a couple days ago, went through and combed the place with a cop. We had the cop go upstairs, he made the announcement, he said all his piece, cleared the space, and we found this. Literal, just, dude was living here. Brought in a microwave from somewhere, brought in a monitor, had tried to turn it into like a micro apartment, but with no water. Add to this shed doesn't have any sort of, thermal insulation or protection from the elements like that. It's basically like a chill space up there. So yeah, we have to change all the locks and everything else, because now we don't know what happened in there. We don't know what his medical condition is, and there is some level of bodily fluids found on some of these used sheets that are everywhere. The landlord had no idea who this guy was. So yeah, this is the weirdest break-in story I've ever shared. We've had a few of them on here because, the Eclipse was broken into, Ronda the Honda way back in season 1 was broken into twice. The Lancer was broken into. The Evo was actually broken into twice as well. So we've had stories to share, but none like this, which is really odd for us. But I did want to at least just put that out there, that this video got super delayed because of this. And we were able to get the wheel bearing put in. Things went really well. The thing drives really nicely now. And you can definitely tell that the bushings are old, the shocks need to be replaced, and the tires are heavily imbalanced, because they'll run like butter smooth, and then out of nowhere just whoa, everything's not happy because it's now out of balance, and then it'll be balanced again. So obviously the bushings are definitely a part of that, ball joints are a part of that, but I'm pretty sure that these motorcycle tires that the guy put on here are 90% of the issue. Issues with that exacerbated others, and it just became a whole mess. But with that, it feels good to be back on camera, and I appreciate you guys coming to check us out today. And we'll see you guys in another episode. Stay tuned, because the Pajero is making a comeback here very shortly, probably in about a month or so. It's just in time for the end of the season. All that said, God bless y'all, and we'll see you next time. Peace! If you're still here in the end credits, you should check out this video where we reviewed the tires that were meant for that Forester that we had, but it ended up going on the Celica. I really liked how this video came out, but more importantly, this is probably one of the better tires I've ever had from Yokohama, and I think you should really check it out if you're in the market for tires like I am for this truck.